Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we are going to start Unit 10, State and Civil Society, with topic Relationship between State and Civil Society. The relationship between state and civil society is important in so far as it suggests the comparative position of each in relation to the other. In some analyses, this relationship is depicted as a zero-sum game. The stronger the state, the weaker the civil society. The weaker the state, the stronger the civil society. Obviously, the expansion of the area of state activity would help minimize the role of civil society. The expansion of the area of civil society would help, on the other hand, minimize the role of the state. In modern liberal societies of our time, the civil society sphere is larger than that of the state, while in dictatorial regimes of any sort, the state's sphere is larger than that of civil society. Now let us move to the next point, that is state and civil society integrative relationship. State and civil society are not two opposite concepts. One does not stand in conflict with another. Neither is one the antithesis of the other. The two should not be regarded as ushering the area of each other. It is not a zero-sum game relationship between the two. Indeed, the relatively stronger state would put a premium on the role of civil society. But this in no way diminishes the effectiveness of civil society. The libertarian view expressed in the writings of the Hayek or Nozick that the state is likely to oppress civil society is more or less ill-bounded. The fact of the matter is that the relationship between the state and civil society are reciprocal. The relationships are of an integrative nature, each strengthening the cause of the other. It is in fact difficult to conceive of civil society functioning successfully without the state. We see the citizen simultaneously constrained by the state and protected by it. It is the state which provides the integrative framework within which the civil society operates. Civil society cannot function properly without the state. The integrative framework, as expressed in laws and rules, is accepted as valid by all. The framework needs to be administered neutrally and in a manner consistent with the shared culture of society. We cannot imagine life without this integrative framework, which creates a degree of coherence and without which civil society is likely to become uncivil. Civil society has to open up in the face of the all-powerful state to challenge the bureaucratic devices lest it ends up in rigidity. It is thus the reciprocity between state and civil society that is significant, or at least should be considered significant. State power is to be exercised within the larger and wider sphere of civil society, and civil society has to keep state power on its toe so that it does not degenerate into absolutism. Now let us move to the next point, that is state, civil society, and democracy. The two concepts, state and civil society, are not in conflict with each other. Democracy integrates the two. The claims of the state get strengthened by civil society, and civil society is made more stable through the state. The two have to work in a democratic frame. The democratic state within the framework of democratic civil society. In a democratic system, state and civil society can collaborate for effective functioning of each. The state has to be constituted democratically, wherein its picture are decentralized and its functions are performed within the rules and procedures already laid. Such a state has to respond to the even growing demands of civil society. Its role, more or less, is a coordinate. It has to interfere least in the social and economic life of the people. It has to be regulative in character. Civil society has to be more open and diversified. It has to keep the dialogue continuous and constant with the state and within all the constituents making it. Its area has to be ordained freely and openly. Devices making up political opinion and public discourse state free. In liberal democratic states, there is a constant interplay of forces belonging to the state and civil society, each putting up an imprint on the other. The dictatorial regime's state power is used to control civil society, and civil society gets integrated into the state. The state speaks for the civil society. Democracy alone unites the state with civil society. The state cannot exist for long if it is not democracy laden. Civil society cannot exist unless it is democratically structured and functions democratically. A democratic state cannot exist if it is restrictive, coercive, prohibitive, and imposing. It cannot exist if it does not provide the civil society frame in perfect order. It cannot exist if it does not guarantee rights and freedoms to individuals. Likewise, a democratic civil society cannot exist if it does not allow every individual to act in the public sphere. It cannot exist if each and every citizen does not have equal claim on the state. If each citizen is not respected as a human being. Now let us move to the next point, and we are going to sum up the unit. State is not mere governance. It is a political community as well. It is what Gramsci says, the visible political constitution of civil society, consisting of the entire complex of activities with which a ruling class maintains its dominance and the ways in which it manages to win the consent of those over which it rules. It is, in other hand, a complex of institutions and practices resting upon the nodal points of power in society. It is a social relation, and as such, it is the codified power of social formation. Civil society consists of the entire range of assumptions, values, and institutions such as political, social, and civil rights, the rule of law, representative institutions, a public sphere, and, above all, a plurality of associations. The two concepts, state and civil society, have grown over time, and along with them, their characteristics also developed. They have stood in relation to each other, each giving another a corresponding value. With the emergence of political economy and liberalism, civil society not a definite connotation, especially in relation to the state. State and civil society are closely related to each other. The state cannot be imagined without civil society, and civil society cannot be thought of without the state. The two exist in integrative relationships. The state in democratic system protects civil society, and civil society strengthens the state. In dictatorial regimes, the state controls the civil society. Here we want to wind up today's lecture and we have come to the end of the unit. Thank you so much for your attention.